will talk about the German beer culture. History of German beer. Originally called liquid bread, presumably because of the yeast content, beer dates to ancient times. The first signs of it can be found in Mesopotamia 12,000 years ago, from where it spread worldwide and became a staple for nearly every culture. Germany may not have invented beer, but their history with the amber liquid is no less impressive. German monks have been producing beer for the public since 1000 AD. Most of these beer-loving monasteries were in the south of Germany, and some are still open today. The oldest of these is Weihenstephan, which dates to 1040. Although it may sound crazy now, centuries ago it was common to give beer to small children. This is because it contained lots of calories and was safer than water. The beer purity law in the 16th century made beer an even preferable option. Beer purity law. The Deutsches Reinheitsgebot, which translates as the German beer purity law, came into effect in Bavaria in 1516. This law decreed that all Bavarian beer could only be made using clean water, hops, and malt. The German purity law didn't stay confined to Bavaria. Over the years, it crept throughout Germany until 1906, when it became the country's primary law governing breweries. Today, the beer purity law is the oldest food law still operating in the world. This insistence on only using 4 ingredients is what sets German beer apart from many others. It preserves traditional craft beer-making techniques and provides a clean, pure taste. Beers from other countries use a range of starchy grains, such as rice-belled, maize, and barley, but it's not the case in Germany. German culture and drinking beer. British tourists have a reputation for drinking to excess, but this isn't the case with Germans. Although drinking beer is an enormous part of their culture, and it's enjoyed regularly, it would be rare to see Germans completely drunk. Despite this self-moderation, Germans have a very relaxed attitude toward drinking beer. At 16, you can drink beer before you can drive a car or vote in national elections. Only beer and wine benefit from this licensing age. It's 18 years old for spirits and harder drinks. Drinking beers casually in public is commonplace in Germany, particularly after work. You might see many people enjoying a Feierabend beer, end-of-work beer, on the train, sitting on a bench, or in the park. However, don't forget to take out protection before you enjoy a beer or 3. In Germany, you are responsible to compensate others for any little mishap. It's easy to accidentally bump into someone else in a bar, especially when the beer is flowing freely, but private liability insurance will protect you. When is a beer not a beer? In other countries around the world, people drink shandy as a low-alcohol drink. Germans drink Rieders. To a newcomer, this can sound quite confusing, as Radler is also the word for cyclist. This is no coincidence, as it's believed that Radlers were originally created for cyclists. Other sources suggest that it was created when there wasn't enough beer to go around. Either way, Radlers are a delicious and refreshing drink that you'll want to try. Types of German beer. When you consider the purity law, it seems almost inconceivable that Germany would have many different types of beer. And yet, despite only using the same 4 ingredients, beer makers create an incredibly diverse range of beers, each with its own distinct taste. The brewing conditions and locally sourced ingredients can play a big role in the flavor of the beer. Not all beers are created equal, as this quick overview shows. 1. Helles or Pilsner. Pilsner is the type of beer that you'd grab from the supermarket without thinking. Available in many varieties, Pilsner tends to be pale with a light taste. The name comes from the original brewing location, Pilsner Urquell in the Czech Republic. Malt Pilsners are available in either Bohemian, which comes from the Czech Republic, or German. Both types have a light and refreshing taste, although the German Pilsners are drier, slightly bitter, and have a lighter body. The slightly spicy flavor of floral hops is evident with every mouthful. The alcohol content is typically 4.5 to 5%. Helles is one of the earlier German types of Pilsner and hails from Munich. The flavor is less hoppy and it's much sweeter, giving it an appealing freshness. Pabst Blue Ribbon, Bud, and Miller are all types of Pilsner spin-offs. 2. Traditional Bock beer and Maibock. Bock is a traditional beer that varies in color and is usually stronger than Pilsner at between 6.3 to 7.5%. The flavor is distinctive, tasting vaguely of bread. This is due to the specific malt that's used in the brewing. Maibock is a type of Bock beer that's usually available in the spring. It tastes much closer to a Pilsner with a strong hoppy flavor, with the associated floral tones and bitterness. A full Bock beer is darker in color, typically ranging from amber to caramel brown, with a full-bodied taste that's deeper. 3. Doppelbock and Eisbock. Doppelbock beers are stronger and maltier than standard Bock beers, with a much darker color. Monks in the Paulaner Brewery in Munich first brewed this type of beer, which is described as caramel-like and sugary. Notes of chocolate and fruit are present in the deepest Doppelbocks, making them an ideal pick to relax with at the end of the day. An Eisbock ups the stakes further as it's a much stronger beer. The brewing process removes some of the water via freezing, which creates a more intense beer with a higher alcohol content. Expect the alcohol content to be between 9 and 14%. 4. Dunkel, Oktoberfest or Marzen. Oktoberfest and Marzen are two alternative names for the same type of lager beer. Dunkel is technically the same but fermented for longer to become much darker and stronger. In the 16th century, it was illegal to make beer during the spring or summer because the wild yeast was too strong and would ruin the taste. Any beers made during winter or the early spring were stored in dark, cool caves and cellars, producing the now familiar Dunkel. Oktoberfest and Marzen taste clean and nutty with tons of bread and a strong malty influence. 5. Schwarzbier. Schwarzbier translates as black beer. It's a fitting name as it's the darkest of all the German beers, including Doppelbock and Dunkel. The taste of Schwarzbier is surprising as there are no overpowering, strong flavors as the color would suggest. Instead, it's a light-bodied beer that is dry, featuring a malty taste with hops and a slight roast bitterness. The alcohol content is moderate too, typically just 5%. 6. Hefeweizen, Weizenbock, and Dunkelweizen. Weizen is the general name for Germany's wheat beers, a popular regional specialty that's all around the world. Hefeweizen is the most common of these and is served in a narrow, tall glass with a flared top similar to a vase. This wide top is necessary to let the unusual top-fermenting yeast spread out properly when poured. 7. Rauchbier. To make Rauchbier, you need a very special technique that involves drying malted barley over open flames. This creates a memorable smoky taste that's rich and has depth, the perfect companion to meat. 8. Altbier. As the name suggests, Alter follows a more traditional method of brewing. There are two types of Altbier available. The version from Düsseldorf is Strawman hops, while the Altbier found elsewhere uses base malt and ale yeast. Whichever type you pick, you'll enjoy a light ale that slides down easily. Expect an alcoholic content of between 4.2% and 5.2%. 9. Kolsch. Kolsch is an unusual beer, combining the top fermenting yeast of a Hefeweizen with a couple of months in a dark, cool cellar. This creates an ale that is spicy and crisp, with a mellow malt taste and floral hops. This special fermentation process is responsible for the delicate, multi-layered flavor and pleasant yellow color. Kolsch is a very forgiving type of beer that is ideal for any occasion. 10. Goes, Berliner Weisse. Goes and Berliner Weisse are two types of craft beer that have enjoyed more popularity in recent times. Berliner Weisse is a fruity wheat beer that has a sour, tart taste, which comes from the lactobacillus bacteria used in the fermentation. Typically enjoyed in the summertime, Berliner Weisse first became popular in the 19th century. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. Also, subscribe to our channel before you go.